Home Affairs Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi says the country is making progress in redesigning and redeveloping the 6 busiest ports of entry in South Africa. Earlier, Motsoaledi announced a request for proposal process for bidders on a multi-billion-rand project. This project that will see an overhaul of 6 of the country's busiest ports of entry. The department says the efforts will see a better facilitation of movements of people and goods and the tackling of illegality at the ports. Let's get more on this with SABC News economics reporter Katlego. A very good afternoon to Katlego. The minister sounding quite defensive and at times almost abrasive when he was speaking about immigration and how South Africa is viewed. Take us through what happened in that press conference earlier on. Abrasive.
A very good afternoon to you, Nzinga, and to our viewers at home. You're quite right. Minister Aaron Motsoaledi just saying to us that as South Africans, we need to be appreciative of the efforts that are already underway to ensure that the country gets it right where issues of illegality are concerned, raising issue with illegal immigration, the illegal movement of goods in and out of South Africa. And this is where we are seeing them just working at ensuring that there's a multi-billion-rand project that will be initiated here, just focused on 6 of the most busiest of the ports of entries, just ensuring that at least where that is concerned, the department just comes through for the country. There have been concerns around how the economy has been hard done when you see this illicit movement of goods from in and outside of the country. But the minister saying that they've made progress, really, when you look at the stakeholders that they've been working with today at that press briefing, seeing SARS there in attendance. We also saw Treasury in attendance here. They're working with the Border Management Authority as well to ensure that there's a movement where this is concerned. But the minister just saying that this is something that we should be appreciative of, and this is where then we'll see just those proposals being administered by the department and some of the stakeholders that will be there. But this process will just kick off in the next coming month. I'm going to bring him into the conversation to just let us in on the efforts that are underway. Minister, thank you very much for accommodating us into your office this afternoon. Just coming out of the back of that press briefing where you were giving us just a sense of progress where we are, as you stated as well, that this is work that had already started and we're seeing you putting wheels in motion and just giving it some sort of character. Welcome to the SABC.
Thank you very much, Tavis.
Yeah,
Thank you very much to the listeners and viewers out there.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. So just let us in on where are we? Are we hearing that you're going to be shifting your attention onto this 6 border posts? What have been your concerns where these 6 border posts are concerned?
Well, look, these are the busiest ports of entry, which are responsible for trade between us in the region and also internationally. Now, what I said, and I'm repeating it, the manner in which they were designed during the apartheid era was that the issues of trade with the neighbors was not important. And I'm sure you know that and you know why. And I said, when you visit our borders, the South African side of the border in terms of infrastructure, it looks like an informal settlement, if you allow me to say that. But when you go to the other side, it is massively improved. I mean, I can give you an example. Zimbabwe has just completed a multi-billion-rand project to expand Bait Bridge on their other side. On our side, nothing has happened. You go to Libombo. On the side of Mozambique, it was also improved in preparation for 2010 World Cup. You go to Oshoek between us and Eswatini. You look at the buildings and you compare them. You see the differences. You go to Kopfontein with Botswana. You find that each and every truck drives through an X-ray machine, a drive-through, which means whatever is in that truck, which is radio opaque, will actually be picked up. Now, we have not yet installed all those things, and part of this project is to install all that. And I give you an example of Libombo, Polapus, between us and Mozambique. Many of you in the media have decried the fact that when you go there, you find trucks queuing for 20 kilometers, bamba to bamba, for many hours on end, and we get phoned, what's wrong, what's happening? The reason is because the mining companies in Northwest, in Limpopo, and in Mpumalanga itself have decided that they are no longer using the Richards Bay Harbour. They want to go to Mabulo Harbour. But there was no concomitant plan to enable that, and that's why the trucks are queuing there. Now, once this project has been done and finished, that will be past history. So those are some of the developments that we want to see there at the borders. And I explained to you about the X-ray in a border post like Kopfontein in Botswana. We are now going to be even more advanced because X-rays are outdated. We are going to be putting gamma rays. At the moment, if a truck goes through the borders, they get checked by what is called a risk-based assessment. In other words, not every truck is checked. You look at which one is more suspicious or which one can you check. Now, once this project is over, every single truck will be checked. If it has got illicit cigarettes, there, the gamma rays will pick them up. If it has got liquor in there, a liquid, it will pick it up. If it has got cash in the form of paper money, it will be picked up. If it is people who are being trafficked, because many of the trafficked people here actually cross through our very same borders, it will be picked up. So this is going to be a very huge development which will solve not all, but most of the problems that we are experiencing at the borders.
Let's talk about the timeline. We know very well that you had said that later on in the month you'll be meeting with some of the bidders to see where the progress is, and in terms of just you ensuring that everyone is on point with the PFMA and what will be expected in the Triple P where this project is concerned. Let's talk about the timelines, and aren't you worried about concerns of corruption that maybe might overtake this process, as we've seen that is the main cause for concern, especially where government projects are concerned?
Well, as far as the timelines are concerned, I'm sure you might have heard today an announcement that on the 27th of this month, there's going to be a briefing of prospective bidders. That means people are going to bid what is required from them. It won't be me, it's a technical thing. All those people you say, they're transactional advisors, will be there to brief them. You saw that we have got Bowman Gilfillan's doing the legal and contractual work. It's a huge legal company. You saw there that we have got Ernst & Young, a huge auditing firm in South Africa. They'll be there. You saw the Development Bank of South Africa, their infrastructure fund. They'll be there. They'll be briefing. You saw Treasury. You saw SARS. You know, all those have got lots of knowledge about how these things are done. Now, coming to the issue of corruption, if at all it will happen, and you're saying, like in all government projects, this is a PPP. It's not a tender. We're not issuing a tender. Where some of the corruption lies, it's a PPP. We are recalling the private sector via requests for proposals, RFPs, to say, can you develop this port of entry? If the design is like this, how much will it cost us? And that's the agreement we are going to make with the private sector. Those are the people who are going to be briefed, and the companies I've mentioned are going to oversee this project. I do not see any chance whatsoever, unless everybody who is in South Africa, including all the private companies that are involved, decides to get corrupt. I don't see that happening.
Let's, just before I let you go, Minister, talk about issues of illegal immigration into the country. We know very well that, what happened in the Johannesburg CBD also just made, zoomed into the spotlight, or shown into the spotlight what the country has been battling with, issues of illegality where immigration is concerned. And we saw as well the Helen Suzman Foundation, one of the organizations, even approaching the courts in terms of how the department is going to be moving where this is concerned. Is this particular process and this project are going to also answer to issues of illegality where inflows into the country and out of the country, where we often hear of the porous borders is concerned?
Oh yes, absolutely. It is going to, because you'll be aware that most of the illegality or illegal entry into the country happened because our borders were porous. And you guys in the media, you have said that many times. You have had a person like Bushiri escaping is still a big problem for the country. Now, because our borders were porous, now we have established a new entity, a new baby on the block. the Border Management Authority, which came an autonomous, stand-alone 3A entity under the Public Finance Management Act, which is now responsible only for the borders. This project we are talking about, they are overall in charge. It has been done with them. That's why you saw the Commissioner of the Border Management Authority playing a very big role in today's press conference rather than the DG of Home Affairs, because it's a project that now falls under the auspices of the Border Management Authority. Now, where will the issues of illegality come in? Part of the construction will be, maybe let me put it this way, most of the people who come illegally in the country, they don't just jump the fence anywhere in the wilderness. They usually jump next to the ports of entry, the very same ports that we are going to redevelop, because they need the road. After jumping in, they need the road. Some are brought by a car, which drove them on the other side of the border. The car crosses with legal papers, and the person crosses illegally. They are going to catch with each other. So part of this development is also to deal with that. And I'm sure you are aware that the Department of Public Works Infrastructure did try to put up some fence there, which is now commonly known as a washing line. There will be no washing line here. The private companies that are going to answer to this request for proposals have answered for specifications from the South African National Defence Force. They are the ones who understand how to secure a border in terms of infrastructure. They've written the specifications, and we expect the countries to answer to that. So it's going to be part of the work that will be done. I mentioned the issue of gamma rays here, where sometimes people are smuggled in trucks when they are being trafficked. So once you put that technology, every truck drives through it. It becomes a drive-through. So everything in there, inside that truck is recorded and seen, whether it's a human being, whether it's liquor, whether it's cigarette, whatever illicit good which is not supposed to enter or leave South Africa will be picked up by that form of technology.
Home Affairs Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, thank you very much, sir, for your time, just briefing us this afternoon, or the morning going into the afternoon, about efforts that are underway. South Africa just wanting to get it right and saying that really, if the borders are intact, then this would also make the relationship with other nations from the SADC region, for instance, just to ensure that there's a flow where the economic activities is concerned. But you hear him saying that they're also looking at attempting to address the issue of the porous borders, which is something that has been a cause for concern for locals here at home, and even those that are business people that really have seen some of their trucks stuck with no end there at the border post. 6 of them, they'll be getting rehabilitated, and this is a multi-billion-rand project that will get underway in the coming year. Nzinga, respect to you in studio.
Legodi, thank you so much for that update there, and he will have more for us a little bit later on that.